Cyclone Freddy is still on the move, causing havoc. Today, this powerful storm is battering central Mozambique with torrential rains and high winds, and it's the second time it's made landfall, not causing just immense damage, but breaking records for duration and strength of tropical cyclones in the southern hemisphere. This weekend, one of the worst affected areas is the seaport of Quelimane, the capital of Mozambique's Zambezia province. Just before we came on air, we reached Guy Taylor. He's the spokesperson for the UN's children's fund, UNICEF.
So we are in exactly the location where the cyclone made landfall last night. There were extremely strong winds during the night, very heavy rain as well. There's been a lot of devastation, basically, in Quelimane. Lots of trees down, roofs ripped off a lot of houses, schools, hospitals. People are without water, without electricity. There's no cell phone coverage except in some very limited areas like where we are now. So it's a pretty serious situation, I think.
And what are the greatest needs right now? It might be everything all at once: shelter, healthcare, food, water.
Shelter is definitely one, particularly for people who are living outside of the centre of the city, people who are living in rural areas whose houses are maybe constructed of much more rudimentary materials. We've seen many people whose houses have been completely destroyed and which are flooded. Access to clean water and sanitation is another very important one, particularly in things like healthcare facilities. There's a big risk. If there's no access to clean water, then we might see potential spread of cholera here. Mozambique already facing a cholera outbreak at the moment with over 8,000 cases. And then, of course, there's the whole range of basic essential services: maternal, newborn, child healthcare, education, child protection services. All of those, need to be brought back on stream very, very quickly, or else we're facing a difficult humanitarian situation. The long-term impact that this flooding is going to bring is potentially very, very serious. So that is a serious concern.
A huge amount of tasks. Can the Mozambican government cope without significant international support?
Well, I think there does need to be significant international support. And Mozambique is already facing multiple humanitarian crises. We have the cholera outbreak. We have 2 million people in need of humanitarian assistance in the north. The country is leading a broad vaccination campaign against polio. UNICEF and our UN partners are working very, very closely with government. We pre-position large quantities of supplies ready to deploy to people in need. We're working with government and civil society to ensure continuity of those basic services I mentioned. But the scale of the impact is really very large, and I think urgent outside assistance will be needed for sure.
And that was Guy Taylor speaking to me earlier from Mozambique. He's the spokesperson for the UN's Children's Fund.